we are live on the air, ladies and gentlemen. The Black Geeks are black with you again. That's right, we are black with you again.
You say that like we can stop being black or something.
Yeah, what else we gonna be?
Yeah.
It's like, we can't just stop being black.
This is true and accurate. It was so funny because it happened last week, and it's so funny. I think that we've all kind of had this conversation about the fact that a lot of this stuff that we do and we talk about really isn't scripted. I mean, this stuff that we come to you, almighty internet, with the offering of infotainment. And we have scheduled infotainment, but there's a lot of this conversation that isn't scripted. And so last week I was opening the show and I was trying to say we are back with you again. I said we are black with you again. I'm like, oh, even that joy's hot. I'm gonna keep that one. That's gonna be my new tagline: black with you.
Oh Lord.
Yo, so
Can we have a meeting to discuss these type of things first?
No.
well, look, it's a personal thing. It's just me. I'm black with you. Now, whatever you want to choose to be today, you want to be brown with you or chocolate with you or whatever it is you want to do.
Chocolate.
Mocha latte.
Espresso.
But I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that's not the right way to start a show. But it's our way of starting the show. Congratulations.
That's what you get for watching.
We are the Black Geeks live in effect. We are not Memorex. We are live to you today. We are not Maxwell. We're Maxwell. We are live with you today. Unless you're watching on YouTube, then yeah, we're not live. You're watching like Monday, Tuesday. You're probably rewatching us again on Wednesday and Thursday just because it's just that good. But we're with you today. We are the Black Geeks. I am your host. I'm your effervescent host, Big Baba Rob. But this show is not about me. It's about the Black Geeks in Infinite. And that's why I bring to you, ladies and gentlemen, Darth Keconius. Darth Keconius.
What's up, everybody?
There he is. Oh, yeah. Live in living color. We have the Potbelly Samurai.
Hey, happy to be here, causing trouble as usual.
As usual, our resident fire starter. You want to start a fire? Just rub Potbelly's head. It is a fire.
I prefer pot stirrer.
Pot stirrer.
Got to stir the pot a little bit.
And ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, we do have Ghost. What's happening, Ghost?
What's going on, people? How y'all doing?
That's
right. What's up, Rabbit?
Oh my God!
What you gonna do?
So, ladies and gentlemen, today, aside from our typical Black Geeky infotainment that we're bringing you, we're also going to be talking about two major topics. One thing we're going to be talking about today is there's been a lot of hullabaloo about Ava DuVernay. And did I butcher it? What? Does he see something? I'm like trying to be confident.
No.
Okay.
No, I say nothing.
I'm gonna say DuVernay.
I don't know what they go for it.
DuVernay. If I mispronounce his name, I'm so sorry. I'm trying. I'm really trying.
Yeah, we want you to come on the show and correct us and hang out for a little bit. We're all big supporters, big fans of your work. Come hang out with the fellas.
Absolutely.
And the sister, Dark Phoenix, who's not here tonight.
Yeah, Dark Phoenix is not with us. King Face is not with us. But I know if they could, they would be. But what we're going to do is we want to talk a little bit about, one, what her comments may mean for the direction of Black Panther. But we're also going to talk a little bit about, kind of explain what the hype is about. Why is it that a lot of folks, especially people of color, are really wanting a black director? Now, we all know that we don't necessarily have to have one to have a good movie. We need a good director. But I don't think that a lot of folks understand why. And so I'm hoping we can talk a little bit about that today and get a little bit of insight and education. I'm sure that the brothers on the line probably have different points of view on it. And then also, we want to talk about Apple Music. We have people here who have Apple products. I'm not one of them, but there are a lot of folks that really, there's a lot of hype, and there's a lot of talk, and there's a lot of really positive comments about Apple Music and the success of Beats One. So we really want to talk about that because that's big tech news. Big tech news. I mean, it's major, worldwide radio, people. So we're going to talk about that. But before we get started, we're going to kick this little piece of the show over to Dark Econius to hopefully hit us up with a little bit of Sith news. Sir Econius.
Oh, yeah, I forgot I haven't done like music in a while or anything. But okay.
Cause you slacking in your Mac and pimping. What's going on?
Whatever. Showing some awesome
What
signs.
you gonna do? What you gonna do?
What you gonna do, Robert?
Play the music, sucker.
That's right. I'm on your show. Anyway, I don't want to get possessed by a stink meter. There's some good, awesome.
You can't help that. You can't help that.
Hold up. Can somebody please post a picture of Ghost and Steak Meter?
No.
Somebody post that.
What happens offline stays offline.
We're not doing that.
I'm about to send my 9-year-old to get the rifle.
I had some waiting for him.
As I was trying to say, see, this is why we don't have music anymore, because it didn't matter then, it don't matter now. We don't understand when a segment is going on and we're supposed to stop,
Play the music.
Y'all playing the wrong music.
Just let me know when y'all ready.
I'm ready.
All right, I'm good.
I'm ready. Hold up. I'm ready.
Play the music.
Boondocks was awesome. Just putting it out there.
It was.
You can never get enough of watching that show. All right. So in science news, it looks like we're finally going to get a close up on Pluto. I don't know about you people, but it looks like Pluto is actually a planet based on what they're seeing so far. So on July 14th,
on that like 2-3 times.
well, we actually sent something out there many years ago, and we're going to actually do our first flyby in history, and it's going to be July 14th. NASA's actually going to do a stream on NASA TV, and we'll actually, for the first time in the history of mankind, get a nice shot of what Pluto actually looks like. So I don't know about y'all. I think that's pretty awesome. It's very geeky in another type of way. So we finally get to get that decision made one way or the other.
We need to get commentary from Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Absolutely.
On the Black Geeks?
Absolutely.
I would love to get Neil deGrasse Tyson on the show.
Yeah. So if somebody can just hook that up, we can have him join our hangout and do that.
That's right. Everybody out there in Twitter land, get Neil deGrasse Tyson on the show. Let's go. Chop, chop.
Exactly. So here's some news that came out yesterday. And take it with a grain of salt. It could be true or not true. But if it is true, it can be pretty big. There's a rumor going on out there.
You don't do rumors.
I don't normally do rumors. But the last time there were rumors on this level, they turned out to be true. By a long shot. Almost everything was true. So, on the podcast, Pete's Basement, he's reporting that sources are saying that Marvel Studios and 20th Century Fox are in early talks to join forces for a film that would bring X-Men and the Avengers together around 2020 as the release date. Now, for those who are not paying attention, the thing that's important about that time frame is there's a certain big Avengers movie, a part 1 and a part 2, that's going on around that time frame that could really use those licenses that Fox owned, such as Fantastic Four, X-Men, and things of that nature. So if this is true, we could finally see Marvel getting their hands on all their properties again. We already got Spider-Man in the cut, so now if we can get the mutants and everything, we could really have something here. So that's the rumor, that's the news on that note. Also, I don't know if anybody out there watches Bat in the Sun. If you do not, go to their YouTube channel, subscribe. After you subscribe to our channel, of course.
Of course.
Bat in the Sun people, tell your people to, talk to our people, subscribe to our channel as well. But they do these superpower beatdowns. And I first got hip to them when they did Darth Vader versus Batman. And basically they come up with these scenarios and they go out to like a Comic Con or something, or some kind of con, and they ask people, who they think would win. So this week, recent Bat in the Sun video, they did the first time 2-on-2, Joker and Harley Quinn versus Deadpool and Domino. And the most interesting part about these videos is to hear the people at the con, fellow geeks like ourselves, give their explanation of who should win and why. And I don't know how many times I wanted to throw something at the TV when somebody picked Joker or Harley Quinn. I was like, are you guys dense or something? But I'm not going to tell you who won. Go check out the video. It was a pretty good Bat in the Sun. The acting and the cosplay is really good. They do a really good job. Y'all should check it out. They even did a pretty good Joker, which is might even be better than the Joker that we're going to see in a couple of months. Move right on to the next topic. It is in entertainment news. I don't normally do entertainment, but it's Potbelly's favorite show, Girls. And
hold on. Time out. Black in the play. Somebody just whooped the kicker's ass. Econian
left the gate open. Who the hell left the gate open?
On this hangout right now, who actually watches Girls. I've been raving against that damn show for years.
I have not seen the latest episode, the latest season. I have not.
But you're a fan.
I am not a fan.
You're an actual fan. Look at you. He bit his lip right before he said it. People like, I'm not a fan. You was like, damn lie. You was like, he's a fan.
I am not a fan of the Girls. Okay?
Mm-hmm. You gonna lie to the people?
I'm not lying to the people.
You know all their names, all their backstories?
I do not.
Anyway, again, he bit his lip again.
Talking about what is this a television show?
Girls is one of the worst shows on television. That one is terrible.
So says Potbelly. Moving right along.
Skippy.
Can I tell the news?
Yes. Can you stop lying to the people?
Tell the news.
People can decide on Twitter. Do I like the show or I don't like the show? It's quite obvious from my countenance that I do not like it.
Mm-hmm. This the fact that he's throwing the smoke and mirrors out there to distract the people.
There is no smoke There is no smoke and mirrors. Move right along. Malaya Obama. I'm talking about one of the Obamas. Black people stand up. Everybody's supposed to be excited when I say Obama. No, I'm joking. I'm joking, people. We have diverse political taste. Anyway.
You said it with a straight face. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Malaya Obama has gotten a job on the set of Girls. So apparently she's now working with Lena Dunham and, her daddy, our president, our Barack Hussein Obama, is he knows that she wants to get into acting and she likes the industry. She says she wants to be a filmmaker. But he's a little worried about the content of the show and his, daughter whose birthday was just on the 4th. She's getting older and Lena Dunham and Girls, So I thought I'd put it out there because that's an interesting little thing, coming off of Father's Day. You got to mention Father's Day at least 6 times after it's over because nobody else will. Last but not least, interesting discussion. Stan Lee was recently asked about, diversity in comics and what's going on with the characters and how they're portrayed. And he basically said he wants Spider-Man and other characters to stay as they are. So, if they're white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestants, that's what he wanted them to stay. And just before anybody gets to, try to jump on this and go at Stan Lee said, look, I'm not happy. These characters are already established. If they're Caucasian and heterosexual and they was raised in a middle-class household, that's the way they should stay. He says, otherwise, create new characters. He says create new stories. If you want to create a homosexual character, create a homosexual character. If you want to create a black character, create a black character. But if you already got established characters that have been out 40 some odd years, don't go around changing the colors. And I kind of, I
I
respect
agree
that
with him.
personally. Here at the Black Geeks, I think I speak for most of us. We're not always fans of that. People.
What did Michelle Rodriguez say? Stop stealing all our white characters. I think she said something like that.
I mean, look, people got all
That's what she said.
high and mighty on Michelle Rodriguez, but the reality is, it's not necessary. What people of color are asking, we're not asking for you to color change our characters. We're not asking for Blackula. We're just asking that if you're going to do a black vampire, do Blade. That's all we're asking for. We're saying, show us the characters. Granted, we're going to get Luke Cage finally, hopefully without the tiara. We're finally going to get Black Panther, one of the things we're going to talk about tonight. But just do that. Stop with this whole color changing stuff. I think it goes both ways. And same thing with gender and sexuality. I think that's what Stanley was getting at. And I think, he basically said, if I had to create one, I'll create one. And that's a shame. If Stanley feels like after all this time, 90-something years old, he has to come out and create a character because y'all are too lazy to put him on screen or create one, that's just sad. If you need people to create characters, call us at the Black Geeks.
There you go.
We can be found at blackgeeks.com. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and all social media. We will give you some characters. We have some scripts. We have all kinds of stuff for you.
You ain't lying.
We got everything you want. We got it for you.
Right now, I mean, I'm like, look, I'm with you. If I created a character called, the Monolith, some dude going to run around on a motorcycle saving families, and I'm just saying, if he was big, of course, he's the Monolith. What kind of name? He's not so small.
Baba?
No, not at all. I'm just saying. Look,
Is his name Rob by any chance?
I'm just trying to make the point. If I had a character out there that I created and I marketed and he was my character and I'm gonna say, I guess I shouldn't say he's my character because I put him out there for the people. I don't think I would want my character changed, to be honest with you. I just don't. So I mean, and I see where Stan's coming from that, and I think that's kind of a lot of what we said was that we make new characters. People want to go ahead and start tampering and changing others just to try to stay relevant with the times, which is great. Again, agree. I definitely agree with you. It's good that we are seeing this evolution of change, within the comic book industry, but still.
But is it change we can believe in? What I say? Did I say something?
No. You're okay. Jeez, I don't even know how to introduce our new guest that's joined us. I'm going to introduce him.
He's the blackest dude we know. He is hardcore, black power, geek. He is the man. He's the guy who smack us around and keep us on point.
I know that's right. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us live on the Black Geeks podcast, we do have Bison for life. What's going on, Bison? How you doing, brother?
Uh-oh.
Oh, we got a volume issue.
Oh, no audio.
He probably got to hit the button thing and make sure he tell him what mic source he want.
Right. No, he's going dark for a minute. He's going to work on it. Yep. Okay, now his mic is off. Now he's got to unmute himself. Okay, now you're unmuted. Oh, nope.
No audio source.
Nope. Still no audio yet.
Wait a minute. He is on a Mac.
Yeah, Enterprise.
No, I think he's on a Mac.
He's not fully in the cult yet.
Watch this. Yeah, watch this on tech support. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna hold down your Option key, and you're gonna hit your sound at the top of the screen, your sound icon, and pick the input source to be whatever Beats headphones, also Apple. Make sure you pick headphones as your source. You see it? Are you using a MacBook? So just go to your input. When you hit Option in the audio icon, you should have got a list of all your output devices and all your input devices. You see that? The sound icon up by your time at the top of the screen. Hold
He
Option.
must really like you because he don't do that for me.
And just make sure you pick the right input device as your headphones.
Live tech support on the podcast. Wow.
Wow.
Did he pick it?
Hey, man, let me look over. Like I'm looking at him.
It says 1 second. Should we share the screen?
No, don't share the screen.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to see my wallpaper.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, no, I was like, definitely don't do that.
Jingling, baby. Go ahead.
Now you got the music all of a sudden.
All of a sudden.
Oh man.
I roll him through one more time, Kekonius.
I'm gonna do a
Are you really gonna do it?
Yeah, just do a screen share. Just do a screen share.
Oh no, he's saying 1 minute.
He's saying 1 second.
He says he wants us to keep on going. The little small icon. I'm gonna say that he said that, so I'm guessing he's like, just keep it going, fellas, and we'll pick it up. All right, so
Keep the party going.
Keep the party going. So Bison's gonna troubleshoot his stuff on his side. And Gekonius, keep an eye on the comments so that he can ask you not comments but in the
chat.
All right, cool. So, unfortunately, yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna go to the first topic to talk about Apple Music.
And you know, Bison wants to talk about the.
Yeah, I know. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually go to the Apple Music commentary first, and then we can kind of double back around on that because they give him a chance to try to troubleshoot his problems. So this week we saw. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I should release the presenting of your screen so that I actually show up since I'm speaking.
Release the presentation.
Release the presentation.
Is that like releasing the Kraken?
Exactly.
Release
the presentation,
dude. When it comes to you, yes, that is. You're the one that's asking. Yes, you are. Oh no, actually no. King Face is the Kraken. King Face is the true Kraken. You let him out. It's just utter devastation. Oh gosh. Okay, so anyway,
I don't like y'all.
I know you don't. That's a tad bit too bad. You're stuck with us, bro. So we want to talk about Apple Music. We did a good segment talking about what Apple Music could be and what it was going to be, and then it released last week, and now we see what it is. To the great pleasure of many Apple users around the world, Apple Music has hit at a fairly reasonable price. A lot of people jumped on. A lot of people talking about Beats One. I'm going to kick to the Pop Samurai first to see if he's had a chance to delve into the world of Apple Music and see if he has any personal experience.
Should we at least say what Apple Music is first?
Well, okay, tell you what. Let's go to Darth Gekonius first, so he can first talk about what Apple Music is.
You know, you got to get that paycheck, though.
I know. Hey, look, I gotta respect the man.
You can't stop the man from getting his hustle.
I mean, this guy. That's the only way I can figure he can afford to pay for these cookouts. So that's the only way. So let's definitely kick to.
Ask about me. Ask about me.
Apple Junior spokesperson Darth Gekonius. Unofficial, completely unofficial in his own mind. Darth Gekonius, can you please first explain to people what Apple Music is and why it's something? It's a big deal to folks.
Okay, hold on. Clothe myself in the original iPhone. Oh, God. Yeah, that's right. The original iPhone, still here. Okay, so Apple Music, as we all know, is the latest streaming platform to come out for music. right up there with Spotify, Pandora, Xbox Music, Google Play, Amazon Prime, and Tidal, among others like radio. So Apple Music is joining the game. Some say late, but some say, better late than never. Apple Music, there's been some controversy in the news. I didn't bring it up during SIF News because I knew we were going to talk about this. One thing is talking about the streaming bit rate. That's really big. Spotify and others use 320 kilobytes per second, whereas Apple uses 256 kilobytes per second. However, as if you're reading The Verge or whatever, some people are doing crappy journalism. I hate to put it out there like that, but at the end of the day, they're using different file formats. So a lot of services are using 320 kilobytes per second. They're using MP3 file format. Spotify actually uses the OBB, I forget the acronym, and Apple uses AAC, which is actually a different type of codec, and their 256 is comparable to 320 MP3. So that's a technical thing. What Apple Music does, it does pretty much what some of the other things does. You can have your streaming radio stations where you can pick your genre, you can pick your artist, and you can decide if you want to create ad-free music stations that's based on that genre or that station. It also allows you to download tracks from the 30 million music library. Most of the other services have 30 million music files as well, and you can download those, create your own playlist as well, and listen to them offline. Another thing that Apple Music does that the others do not do, it has curation. So instead of just playlists created by yourself and other users, they have professionals that also curate playlists for you that you can download the playlist, look at the playlist, and discover new music. Now, and it also, of course, has the online storage locker. Currently, if you subscribe to iTunes Match, anything in your iTunes library will be Apple will match your file with one of theirs, and you'll have it available online, your own music. And right now, the limit is 25,000 files. But when iOS 9 is released in the fall, they're going to increase that to 100,000 music files. So if you got 100,000 of your own personal music, that too can be added to your locker to be added to your playlist and things of that nature. Now, the huge thing that differentiates Apple Music from the other streaming and services is Beats One. Now, some people have written off Beats One, mainly people that have Android devices. If you read the forums, they all say, "Oh, radio, that's so interesting. Ha ha, they created radio." And therein lies the problem. People have not actually listened to Beats One. They have not researched Beats One. But Beats One is not just a traditional radio station. What Beats One is it's a radio station that for the first time is 24/7 in over 110 countries simultaneously. There are no ads, there are no commercials, and the DJs get to play whatever the hell they want, which is completely different if you listen to terrestrial or even satellite radio, where you have to play the top 10 or whatever they tell you, the program person tell you to play, so you might hear the same song over and over and over all day. They do have requests from all over the globe, from Tokyo to Portugal, and not just do they have their regular DJs in LA, London, and New York, they also have guest DJs, which tend to be artists. So far they've had, Eli Goulding, they had Selena Gomez is going to be there. They even Dr. Dre has his own show now called The Pharmacy. Pharrell has a show called Other Tone. Q-Tip has his own show. They even gave Jaden Smith an hour to spin records. And if you go to their calendar, they actually have a Tumblr page, and you can see their calendar, and you get to see all the different artists coming up. It's just over the top. If you listen to Beats One, you'll get the hype. People are not getting the hype. They're not understanding what's going on Twitter, but this is making people actually get into music at an increased rate. One of the things that Beats Radio also does is that when you're actually using the app, as they play the song, it actually shows up on your phone what song they're playing. So regardless if they're mixing it or talking over it, you can have the option to like that song, so that can help with your curation and recommendations. Add it to your playlist, share it to other people, and if you missed the show, you can actually go back to the Apple website, and they will show you the playlist of all the songs you get. So it works as a good music discovery. So artists you may never ever hear on regular radio, you may hear on Beats One. In fact, on the first day, some of the first 4 songs were songs that have never been played on regular radio. Because again, the DJs get to play whatever they want in whatever genre, and people from all over the planet request it. And if you read any comments on articles like The Verge or Engadget, there are people from other countries like India. I've read comments from people from India, people in different countries like Portugal, who have been complaining. They're saying that, what Americans don't understand, that even though Spotify has radio stations of some sort and all these other services have some type of radio station, they do not have them in those countries. And if they do have them in those countries, it's locked to only be Indian music. You can't listen to American music on the radio show. They try to give you just Bollywood all the time. By Apple doing this, everybody listening to the same thing at the same time. The exposure for artists in general and music discovery is at such an astronomical level that music listening has now become a social event with people all over the globe. So Beats One is a lot huger than people think. It's just a radio station. It's much more than that. And not to sound cliche, it's like I'm getting a presentation. It really is an experience. And everyone who's used it has said the same thing. People are canceling their Spotify and Pandora stuff right out the gate. You get 3 months free in the trial. No one else is doing that. It's $9.99 a month starting at the end of your trial, or $14.99 for a family of 6. So it's also a good deal. So even if you like Spotify and you like Pandora and you like the premium service, you pay $9.99, the fact that you can put 6 people on your plan for $14.99 and still have all those features plus Beats One still makes Apple the better deal. And it's not just on Apple, but it's also on PC, Mac, and coming in the fall or sometime soon, Android and Windows. So that's my big take with it. I've been using it since launch, and I'm not even a big music person, but just to try this out and just to hear music that I know for a fact I won't hear on Sirius XM or any of the local stations has been huge. Discovering music that I from different countries is just I don't know how to explain it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the New York station, the borough check. If you from the region like I am, when he did the borough check and he's basically playing artists from each of the boroughs in New York City, and then he went to Jersey and then he went to Philly. That when you hear Triumph from Wu-Tang and they play the whole thing, no commercials, and then they be like, yo, we're gonna go to Jersey, we're gonna play Lauryn Hill, and everybody on Twitter blowing up, yo, Lauryn Hill, and he said, yo, Lauryn Hill's so hot, we're gonna play her again. And they play like 4 Lauryn Hill tracks. You never get that on regular radio because the DJs can do whatever they want. This joint is hot. I'm just telling you. Say what you want about Apple, but Apple entering the game at this stage, they have come to lay waste, salt the earth. They have taken over. They have won. It's a foregone conclusion. I'm not even saying it as an Apple fan. People who don't even have Apple devices, people who just like music in general, are already saying, yo, Beats One is the factor that basically kills every other service by itself. That's my spiel. Say what y'all want. I hand it over to the rest of my geeks.
All right, so let's kick this over to Ghost. He seemed to co-sign on it. So Ghost, how have you like? I'm sorry, there you go. Ghost, how have you like rocking with Apple Music?
Oh man, I think it's wonderful. I haven't explored it as much as Viconius, but I when it opened up, I downloaded it and I just started typing in different names of songs, and I fell in love. I was able to pull up whatever I wanted right on the spot. I'm co-signing on what Geekonia said. This thing is hot.
What about you, Pop Belly? Your experience with it?
It's been a lot of fun actually. The one aspect I think that Deconey has missed out on was the being able to find music. So you can basically put in a search for just about any song, and they don't have everything, but they have 99.9% more than you would expect them to have. So you can pull up an obscure artist that you're never going to hear on the radio, or you can pull up an obscure song and not just get the artist, but get the whole album and sit there and listen to that whole album, plus build your playlist around that particular music. Like even with like Pandora or Spotify, what you get is they send you songs and you get to make a playlist based on the suggestions that they sent you. And it's really different than creating a playlist based on songs that you specifically search for and create a playlist around. So, for example, I put it to the test with the wife. Father's a musician, and they were able to pull up, most of his stuff, and she was able to like listen to pieces, from her dad that she hasn't heard since she was like a kid, or spend years and stuff that you're never going to get on the radio. Like you're not going to get it on Pandora or Spotify either. So the fact that she was able to do that was, almost like an amazing feat of technology for the most part. And it goes to show you like what they've accomplished, also what their music library looks like. The music library is ridiculously extensive. So just about any song you can think of, you can pull it up, which is, a huge leg up over Pandora or Spotify.
Gikoni, so one thing that I do wonder, just from a technology standpoint, how are they able, to accomplish this on such a global scale, especially relative to the amount of music that we're talking about? Do they use basically just their U.S. bank of servers, or are they basically using an international planetary grid of servers to be able to deliver that amount of content to people?
I can only speculate. I know you had the inside joke because I got I'm on Apple's payroll, but
He ain't sharing no money either.
the thing is, the huge advantage that Apple has over everybody else and able to pull this type of technological feat off is that Apple has enough money to buy a small country, and that's cash on hand. I mean, Apple has so much money that all this time where they're like, oh well, Apple's not going to get into the game, Apple's going to get in the game. Their servers, even if they're only in America, are probably so thorough that pushing this data was really nothing but flipping a switch for them anyway. The main technological feat, when you think about it, is only the Beats One, and it's really just them streaming a station and people accessing it, which most people can do on the internet. It's not much more grander. YouTube is more advanced than that because YouTube does that with a gazillion different hangouts and a gazillion different things at one time, whereas Apple's just doing one stream that's 24/7. So as long as you can keep pushing that stream, it's okay. In fact, someone had I was almost posted to Twitter, but Apple found a way but Apple stopped it. Someone had found the unblocked stream online and and published it, and people listen to Beats One through the internet, which is something Apple did not intend. So that lets me know that they're pushing the stream online. It's just encrypted. So initially it was unencrypted, and people was listening to Beats One for a couple of days through the internet until Apple shut that stream down. So that's what I'm assuming they're doing. Like any other streaming service, they're just pushing their Beats One stream to one site, and everybody's just accessing it. So it has more to do with your network connection than anything. Like I said, the cool part is the curation of the albums and your artists by able to listen to a current track and add that. And I think that's what Jimmy Iovine was saying. He was saying the thing that's going to separate Apple from Spotify, Pandora, and the others is while their curation and their recommendations is all based on algorithm, Apple has a human element in where they have actual DJs that say, you know what, you like this song, you'll probably like this song. And most of the time is right. In the setup process, for instance, you get to pick the genres of music you like, how well you like them, what artists you like. They'll recommend artists to help keep checking that out. So I think that's a big deal, and the technology to pull it off. It only could have been done by Apple because people like Spotify, they just don't have the money, the infrastructure to be able to launch simultaneously in so many countries like that. It's just, it's 110 today. By the time this time next year, Apple will probably be doing it way more than that. And not to mention all the people that have Apple devices, Android devices, and Windows devices. I mean, they basically got everybody covered. So we'll see, because it's gonna, and that's probably why they're taking so long to give Android and Windows access. They need to work out all the kinks first with just their phones, because you can imagine when you think about how many Android devices are in the world, and it's a way lot more than Apple devices, by the way. Android is killing Apple globally. It's not even a competition when it comes to devices and circulation. Apple's only killing in America, but in the rest of the world, it's all Android. So when they launch it on Android, I just can't imagine the server hardening they're going to have to do to keep all that data streaming. So we'll see.
Yeah, you're absolutely. We'll see. And I can definitely see how a lot of the other streaming services are definitely going to struggle, because you've got a one-stop shop there, and access to music and access to the music that you want to hear. It's just the way things are. So I can't say that I'm terribly surprised that it hasn't been that it's been this level of success. So I guess we'll see. I want to jump into our next topic as we get into the second half of the show. Before we do that, I want to do a quick mic check and see if we finally got Bison on the line. Bison, up. I hear you tapping. Bison, how you doing this evening, brother?
He was tapping. What happened?
I heard him tapping a second ago. It tapped and flashed to him. There it is.
Can you hear me now?
There you go, sitting on the bridge.
Can you hear me now?
On Enterprise.
Yeah, we can hear you. And great set. Yeah, we about to start hosting a show from your house.
Yeah, look at them executive beat headphones he got on. Those ain't even studios.
Look at all the details in there. Captain Kirk back there somewhere tied up.
I'm just saying, dang, we got the professional beats joints.
Has all the Apple nut licking, has that
All right, it was awesome to have him on the show.
I'm just messing with you.
Thank you for joining us, Bison.
Hold on. I bought T-shirts.
That's true. Yeah.
And this cop thought it was a gang thing, so I said, hold up. But I think, to be honest with you, I think what a lot of people's going to do with Apple, I think they're just going to do the 3-month service and then bounce. Because at the end of the day, you have a radio station, and I'm going to stay because I have investment in it. I got about 10,000 songs, so I'm not going anywhere. So I've already made my other decision. I'm going to stick with Tidal. I mean, I know people crapping on Tidal, but they got a lot of exclusive content. And I think I might bounce from Spotify and just roll with Tidal. I mean, I'm not a Lil Wayne fan, but they're getting a lot of exclusives. I think that's the only selling point right now. And I don't like what thing about Apple right now is it's still kind of hard to navigate. It still got some issues with it, at least for me. And, I'm going to stick with them because I'm invested with it. But, it seemed like it's something that they had to do instead of something that they wanted to do. I think there's a difference. I don't think it's a game changer. I just think it's sort of like getting a new oil change on your car. I mean, your car's still going to run well. It's just not going to. I don't think it's a game changer, at least for me, at least right now. But
what's your thoughts on Beats One? Have you listened to it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm familiar. I was familiar with the DJs anyway. It's good for finding new music, but I don't think it's a game changer. I mean, there are other platforms. I mean, music now is so curated and so segregated. If you someone like me who likes 70s funk, jazz, gospel, golden age hip hop, that's not for me. I'm not gonna stay there. I'm not gonna stay there the whole ride. But if you want new things from the UK or something like the next REM or something like that, it's for you. But I just think if your tastes are nuanced, I don't think that's not going to be something long term. At least that's my opinion.
I,
And that's
I think that's why Apple are breaking down into a more traditional show format because when they initially pubbed it, it was like it's gonna only be these three DJs, but in practice, it looks like they're actually doing segments. So like I was listening to Dre's show the other day, and it was basically all West Coast, type tracks. So I think that's how they're gonna break it down with these different artists because some of the actual big celebrities are doing their shows every other week, and I think that'll break up what you said, Bison. Because I'm gonna tell you the London show for me, I like the DJ, she's really good, but I was housed out. I was like, if she play another house track, I think I'm a blow. I was like, please get the New York DJ on. When he back on? When is he back on? you know.
Well,
Yeah.
is it going to be the place that you go to? Is that going to be your first stop, your second stop, or your last stop on your journey to get music? I don't think it's going to be most people's first stop. It's not going to be my first stop.
No, I think some people are going to use it like Ghost and Potbelly said, which is pretty much how people use Spotify. They go and they look for the songs they want, they create their playlist. And I think the reason why I think this Apple Music game changer, and I am a Spotify user. I used to use Pandora, but I moved to Spotify because what I thought was the hottest thing about Spotify was the fact that you could share playlists and that you can create your own stations and get your own songs and listen to them offline. The reason why I think Apple's the game changer is because Apple does that, plus it has other stuff, and financially it has the better option. If you're like me and you got a gazillion people on your plan, if you one person and you talking about 9.99 versus 9.99 versus 9.99,
But think about it,
it's gonna come down to what you use it for.
young people ain't paying for music. I don't care what the platform is.
Right.
I think they will. I
I
think they
talk
will.
to young people, they look like I'm crazy. You paying for me? That's like to them. That's like sneaking in a club or something that's asinine. Something like that. It's just they gonna have to target their demographic. Is it going to be? Are they going to create new customers, or are they just going to kind of satisfy the customers they have?
I think most Apple people, though, when you look at the demographic, will pay the subscription
yeah.
because by the numbers, Apple people tend to spend more spend more money on stuff we probably don't need.
I tell you one thing. I tell you one thing. I tell you one thing that will make their subscription spike if Dre gets Detox out
Well, look,
and he'll drop on Apple.
that's funny. I was watching on somebody had an article, somebody had a comic on Engadget, and they was like, "Yeah, it's great that Dre got a show, but can he cancel the show and work on that damn Detox album?"
Financially, he doesn't need to, but something tells me. I bet you it's in that contract somewhere. I bet you it's in there somewhere.
If nothing else, just give us the stuff that he was going to put on the album, and they might do that. And I ultimately think that Apple will buy Tidal.
What?
I think if Tidal distinguishes itself just enough to where Apple feels like they need that little chunk of the market with those exclusives, I think they will. Or I think stuff will probably get released kind of like how games are. They might get released on PlayStation first and then Xbox. That might happen with Tidal because the opportunity to get your music out there is a bigger advantage on Apple than anywhere else. The fact that I can play a track and it be played simultaneously in 110 countries, that's a huge marketing
Yeah.
thing. And if you're Tidal and you're artist on Tidal and you're this little corner in the pocket right here, and you say to yourself, "Oh, I got a new song. I'm being exclusive on Tidal because I hooked up with Jay-Z." At a certain point, you're gonna say, maybe I want to get it over to Apple too. Even if Apple has they don't get it for 2 months, it'll eventually get there. And like Taylor Swift, for instance, she pulled her stuff from Spotify, but she put it on Apple Music.
I love Apple, but there's a word that's jumping up called monopoly, and that's the reason I'm kind of splitting my allegiances. I mean, I had my reasons for going with Tidal, and I'm not gonna lie, some of it is tribal. And
I get you.
when he did his B-sides concert, he kind of alluded to that.
That's true.
And, you know, I mean, Apple got enough money, Spotify got enough money, but we bitching about Jay-Z. And at the end of the day, he may not have invented this form, but it's revolutionary. He's replacing the middleman in the messenger. Now I see why they got rid of Dame, got rid of Dame way back when. But I'm going to stop here because I know y'all want to go on somewhere else.
If you want to break this into hip hop stories, I'll listen. You got several kind of stories right here.
No,
Look,
okay.
Let's looking to go there.
Okay. This is what Tidal's going to do, and this is what Apple's going to do. Tidal's going to do a Jay-Z Beyonce album. You know that's going to happen. That's going to break the internet. Now, what can Apple do to counter that?
Buy Tidal. I'm telling you, Apple's not going to sit around.
Absolutely.
Tidal can say no. You can always say no.
Jay-Z said, "I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman." I'm telling you,
I'm a businessman.
I was reading something on Forbes several months ago before they even read it. They said if you're Jay-Z right now, you want Apple Music to be successful because Apple. The one thing that Apple does for the industry as a whole, for tech in general, is they make technologies credible. So smartwatches, Samsung, LG, all them, they came out with a gazillion smartwatches for the Apple Watch. Nobody started taking the platform serious until the Apple Watch came out. So streaming music is like, is it really this big of a deal? Tidal came into it like, look, we're music connoisseurs. We have great quality files. We have the artists.
But what
everybody was like, and what else?
I don't look at their portfolios or quarterly reports, but what percentage of iTunes Music is bringing in the revenue? I think it's minuscule compared to iPhones. I think it's a small niche market over here.
I think they said it's like 34 billion or something like that.
Apple's making most of their money off of iTunes, not off the phones.
I thought I read somewhere it was strictly iPhone.
No, it's declining. No. They make it's a sizable chunk to care. It's like $34 billion and it's decreasing, but because people aren't buying music like they used to, and that, like you said, they had to get in the streaming market to keep that portfolio. But they do make like something like 74 plus billion for iPhone. So they make like almost double in iPhone sales. Double, triple. But the thing is, it's still a sizable chunk of their business. Apple, since inception, the iPod, music is huge for them. And if Tidal keeps pushing those exclusives, I can very well see them cutting a deal with Jay-Z or something, even if it's nothing more than what the publishers do with what EA does with Xbox and PlayStation. It's like, look, Sony ponied up the money so they get the DLC several months in advance. If it's nothing more than that, and Beyonce did launch an exclusive on Apple, this time last year, so it's not like they haven't worked with Apple before. I think at the end of the day, if Apple puts across the right proposition, Jay-Z will bite. Because he already made a decent return when he got in the title. If Apple felt like, look, we need to be, Highlander up in this piece, there can only be one, Apple will cut the check.
Well, I'm gonna say this and kind of go to the sidelines, but I think the buzz was short-lived. Outside of enthusiasts like ourselves, I mean, this later in the week, it's going to be the next thing. In my circle of friends, no one cared. I mean, my circle's a little older, but it's still tech savvy, and they just, so what? I just don't think. I think it's going to be a short-term thing, and we'll move on to the next. We'll wait for the next release. I just don't think it's going to be. It may be a long-term effect, but I don't see it now. For most people, it's just another way to get music content through another provider. Nothing else.
On that note, I want to comment on what Bison said, but as a programming note, I think what I want to do in the interest of time is to kind of take this conversation out to the end of the show, and what we'll do is we'll schedule another show either during the week, or next weekend, and we'll pick up the topic next week regarding the Black Panther. It's interesting what Bison just said, because that was kind of one of my comments to Geconius as I looked at it, is that I really wasn't. I guess I think that it's appealing to a certain age group and a certain demographic. If I want to listen to my music, I go to my music. I've already got it. And granted, if there's music that I don't have, do I want to go buy it? Maybe not, but maybe I would if I really want to own it. I don't see myself, and then especially with the radio piece, I don't listen to the radio like that. And just Tony's points, I'm not gonna listen to the radio and want to listen to house. I'm just house. I mean, I like some house, but I'm just not big into it. So the radio piece doesn't really appeal to me. And yes, I'm one of those people who don't have it and haven't listened to it. So I don't want to criticize it. I think it's a really great thing, especially from the standpoint of exposing people to different genres, exposing new and upcoming artists as well. That's the one piece of I think of it is really big. But I think that it appeals to a more flexible generation who are going to hear a large variety of music. Those of us who have teenagers know that they're not confined to just even 4 music genres. They're really going to go really very, very far across the spectrum. So I think that Apple appeals to that generation very well, that flexible generation that is willing to hear different things from all over the place. Me, I just don't. That's just not how I listen to music. So it doesn't appeal to me. But I don't think I'm necessarily a target audience, especially as an Android owner. I'm definitely not. But I know that it is coming to Android, like you said, Geekonius. But yeah, I think there's also a generational issue here, personally.
It could be. I know my teens were like excited. Oh, we're gonna get the Apple Music. We're gonna get the Apple Music. They were, And these are people and these kids, they use Spotify like it's going out of style. They burn the brakes off Spotify. And I think ultimately, from a marketing standpoint, I think it boils down to, if you're the person who's already paying for Spotify, already paying for Pandora, you're the target. Because the proposition Apple is making is, if you were already using Spotify, if you were already using Pandora, you were already paying for the premium subscriptions, and you have an iDevice already, why not use a solution that's already integrated with your Apple devices in your iTunes library for the music you've bought, uploaded, downloaded over the however long you've had iTunes? That's their target. As far as drawing in new people who never paid for Spotify Premium or never paid for Pandora or anything like that, I think the only way they're going to be attracted is if they hook up with their friends and they all agree to pay $2.50 a month, and they can go ahead and get the family plan. I just think that's the target. People who are already shelling out $10 a month, because the proposition, if I was making the marketing case, I would say, look, you're going to get the same 30 million song library on all 3 of them, no matter how you slice it. The only one that doesn't have the same amount of music is Amazon. They're like 15 million. But Pandora, Spotify, Apple have about the same size library. Maybe not the same exact songs, but statistically, you should get about the same songs. If you already got that, so you say, well, what does Apple have on top of what they already do? And you start saying, as a buyer, and you do this all the time, when you go buy cars, when you go get clothes, you go buy food, whatever you buy, you'll say, okay, Ragu, Prego, and such are all tomato sauce, right? But you start looking for the things that differentiate, what's that extra little feature, that extra, this one got mushrooms in it, or this one got navigation.
Yeah, actually, Prego doesn't have high fructose corn syrup.
Oh, well. if that's your thing, that's the deciding factor. And I think that's the marketing case Apple's making.
But here go the one thing I think y'all missing out on as far as Apple. Like, Apple is not playing the short game. Apple ain't never played the short game.
That's true.
Apple is playing the long game. You think about when the original iPod first came out, and like all of the marketing behind it, kind of how they
slammed it.
And they didn't just do their own individual marketing. They linked in with the Gap and like other things, and they had this whole multi-platform kind of like generational approach to it. And it's the same thing here. Apple is building out a one-stop shop for everything that you would possibly need on the consumer side of the media and consumption and interaction.
But wasn't that Steve Jobs? I mean, what is Tim Cook's long-term plan? It might be two different. You got different leadership now.
Yeah, but I feel like they're still following the Steve Jobs playbook. And
I mean, at the end of the day, Cook, though, I've heard that a lot. It's Cook Jobs, and he's a different type of guy. But what people fail to remember, Cook joined the company like in the late 90s. So it's not like he's a new guy either. He was there the whole time. Just like Johnny Ive, they've all been there with Steve. If anybody knows how Steve would think, hell, I just found out that Wozniak is still technically an Apple employee. I didn't know that. Wozniak was still part of the company technically. But my point is I think for them, and I think it always boils down to this when you talk about tech, is Apple is a hardware company. Primarily, Apple's goal is to get their devices in your home. And music is a thing that you do on the devices, which is, I think Bison made an interesting point earlier. He said it kind of feels like they were kind of, you got to do it. Kind of like with TV, it's kind of like, if I want to keep selling iPhones, I need something other than this is a smartphone to make people come in. And right now they're down to photography and music. I mean, and those are the things they're going to go hard on over these next couple of iterations of the iPhone, iPad, whatever. And I think at the end of the day, they're going to keep. I mean, this is their first release. Like somebody mentioned the UI. Bison said the UI is complicated. It is. The only reason why people like me could navigate it off the gate, because I also used to have Beats Music, and they took a lot of those features from Beats Music and added into Apple Music. So that's why it looks so crazy with like 4 or 5 different ways to do what you want to do. Spotify sucked when it first launched at the interface too before they got there. But this is Apple's first crack at it. This is like week 1. You better believe this time next year they're going to be that much better. Apple Maps is, I just think that ultimately Apple's long-term strategy is they're going to make this the best music app out there. And just like iTunes all but obliterated any other service that did that, there used to be others. I don't even remember the names of the other programs that used to do your music. Yeah. Exactly. Everyone, whether you're a Windows user or not, you probably tap into Apple's ecosystem at some point. And that's why they made it available, because it's not even about devices. They want to win. And they they want the Android people too. At the end of the day, they want to make Apple Music this thing where if you listen to music, you don't even consider anybody else. And they're well on the way because, again, they do everything everybody else does, but then they start adding these extra things on top of it. And as a consumer, if I'm spending $10, whether I hate Apple or not, if I'm an Android user and I'm already spending $10 on Spotify or Pandora, I'm going to say, what else do I get for my $10? And you're going to say, oh, well, Apple does 3 more things more, regardless if you think those things are irrelevant or not. People may never listen to the radio, but they'll say, well, Apple has a radio station plus this and this for $10. That's how people buy stuff. And people are going to do that 3-month trial, and a lot of us is lazy. We're not going to remember to go cancel that subscription.
I already turned it off.
Yeah, but you of the demographic who thinks of this stuff. Who's like, I'm going to cancel that joint right now. So when September rolls around, I won't be looking at October like, $14.99 for Apple? What the hell is that for? But 90% of us signed up for Apple Music, and we're going to be sitting there in October when we get that charge and be like, oh, yeah, Apple Music. Spotify got me like that for like 8 months before I realized, why am I paying Spotify $10 a month for something I barely turn on? And I was just using them for offline access. I liked the fact that I could download my songs and listen to it offline. and that's
Yeah.
I think
You know
Apple
one
got the
thing.
wrong game.
You know one thing I hope they would integrate into this is iBooks. You can sort of do the same thing with books, and I mean, because I think music is sort of is finite. I think it's only so far you can keep going with streaming services. I mean, you're basically repackaging the same thing and just selling it, to a different spin. But if they can extend that to other media, I think, like let's say text. I mean, you can rent textbooks anyway, but like say textbooks or books or whatever. I think, you know, but that's a whole different thing because of copyright laws and all that sort
Yeah,
of
because
thing.
they want to. Me and Face had a discussion about that because we're big into audiobooks, for instance. We're real big into that. And Apple's trying to do that with TV right now. The word on the street is they didn't launch the new Apple TV and the TV service is because, quite frankly, Comcast was cop blocking. Quite frankly, they didn't want. Did I say that? My bad. Anyway, I didn't mean it. Anyway, my point is,
We need to have a mature audience thing before this thing is posted.
Beware.
one word. I mean, you know what they say on PG-13 these days? PG-13 is rated R for us when I was younger. But
You
but
ain't
no,
lying.
my all right, my bad. But my point is, I think they want to get into the other markets, but like you mentioned, it's much more difficult. The music industry is a lot more amicable to these terms and things like that than Hollywood and the publishing industry. But I'm certain if they can crack it, they will try to find a way. I do think TV's next, though. I got a huge feeling that either this fall or this time next year, Apple will be launching a television service too.
Well, I definitely can see them getting into that. I mean, you've talked a lot about Apple TV, and we had a really good conversation last week to talking about how Netflix is putting so much pressure on just the network television as well. So I can definitely see that coming. But I'm going to make that the last word on it. I know I said I'm going to try to keep this to an hour at the beginning of the show. I definitely want to do that. I definitely want to thank Bison. Now that Bison got his tech all figured out, when we're ready to have the conversation about Black Panther, I'm sure you're gonna jump back in. I'll make sure to let you know ahead of time when and where we're gonna do it. So if you're available, you're more than welcome to jump on with us.
Are we all wearing black for that?
Look, I wear black all the time.
Yeah, see, Big Bob Rock gonna mess around. He gonna have on his beret. He might have a tape in his back pocket.
Are we gonna do it
He
for
gonna have a
real?
black fist up.
Or is it's not that Black Panther, huh?
I have to grow my hair out so I can put my fist pick in. Yeah, I have to do that. But thanks, so Bison, thanks so much for joining in this week.
Thank you for
Really
having
appreciate it. Oh yeah, man, absolutely. You definitely we'll definitely be hitting you up again if you can come back and comment. I know you got some really great.
Anytime you're ready.
Yeah, true that. Definitely want to remind folks to there's so many different ways you can follow us. One of the great ways is to go to www.theblackgeeks.com. We got some new content up there for you guys. We've got a review of the world of Fire and Ice by the Potbelly Samurai. We've got a really good article from Dark Phoenix about Bitch Planet, the comic book series. I've even got some gameplay footage up there for you guys. This is my first. Usually, though, I talk. We've talked a lot about my playing in Skyrim. I got some gameplay footage. You can see how bad the hoarding actually is in Skyrim. It gets crazy. Then we've got also an article from the Potbelly Samurai about Defiance season 3, and there's going to be a lot more. We'll have more articles posted for you this week. You can also check out the forum. Ghost wrote a really great article. There was an ad out recently talking about the greatest rappers and the Icon series, I believe it was, through Sprite, and it put Biggie, Pac.
Rakim.
I'm sorry. It was Rakim. Rakim. You just
Nas.
said Nas. Was it
Big.
was it Biggie or Pac? It was
It was
Big. It was
Biggie.
Big, and then Drake.
Biggie.
And it's yes. And I was like,
Okay, I just got a headache.
I'm like, one of these kids is
I'm done.
doing their own thing.
Look,
Right, right.
if you're like us and you had the same visceral reaction to even the mere suggestion of such skullduggery, please, Black Geeks forums, and put your 2 cents out there too. Let's tweet that link out to the forums, please, and tell them, look,
Yeah.
put your 2 cents in there.
Yeah, you got to put your 2 cents in on that one, and I tell you, Ghost wrote a really scientifically technical article that even blew me away. So I was impressed.
That's what happens when you give dudes degrees in chemistry. Like they apply them to stuff.
Shut up.
So it was a really great article, and that's in the forums. So there's really
Don't do it.
There are a lot of different ways to follow along. So we've got the website, we've got the webpage. You can like us on Facebook, at the Black Geeks Twitter. We're on Tumblr, Google Plus, SoundCloud, and Instagram. We're all over the place, and we're getting more and more active with you guys and interacting with you all. So you hit us up and definitely let us know what's going on. We do see your requests. We try to share a lot of your content. We just ask the same, share us too, because we're all trying to do big things around here. So thanks so much. Appreciate you watching on the tube. Appreciate you. For those of you who caught us live, thank you so much as well. And I will be back next week, if not sooner, with some more incredible, great Black geekiness for your world. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much. That's our show for today, and we will see you next week.